Freshwater is an essential resource for all land-dwelling animals, but it is also an important habitat in its own right. Freshwater habitats vary immensely, from temporary pools to giant lakes, and from tiny streams to rivers thousands of miles long. As a result, the problems that animals must overcome in order to survive in their environment can be very different from one freshwater habitat to another. Strong currents, periodic drought, and intense competition for food are some of the difficulties with which animals must contend. Animals living in fast-flowing rivers face a constant battle with the current, and they cope with it in one of two main ways. The first is to avoid the problem by staying close to the riverbed, where the current is relatively slow. Many invertebrates, such as stonefly and mayfly larvae, never venture into open water, and to improve their staying power they often have a flat profile, so that if they position themselves with their heads facing upstream the current presses down on their backs, helping them stay in place. Remarkably, the same technique is used by dippers, the only songbirds that feed underwater. They are naturally buoyant, but as they walk upstream over the riverbed, the force of the current keeps them submerged. The second solution is to compete with the current by swimming against it. Species that cannot avoid the current match their swimming speed to the water flow, enabling them to stay in place, and they keep swimming even when they are asleep. For most fish, freshwater makes a much safer nursery than the ocean, and this justifies their long journey upriver to lay their eggs. However, because the food supply in freshwater is limited, the young eventually make for the much more dangerous, but also more fruitful, environment of the open sea. The advantages of this are apparent where some, but not all, members of a species migrate. Those that swim out to sea usually grow much bigger than those that stay behind. Like migrating birds, migrating fish are often remarkably accurate in pinpointing the place of their birth, returning there to spawn even though it might mean an inland journey of over 1,500 miles, 2,500 kilometers. Each river has its own characteristic chemical fingerprint and, with their acute sense of smell, migratory fish are able to identify the estuary that they left as young fish. By monitoring the scent of the water as they progress upriver, they home in on their own spawning ground. Migrating fish often meet barriers to their progress. Salmon are famous for jumping waterfalls and rapids, while eels tackle obstacles by slithering around them over land. Eels usually do this after dark, in damp conditions, when they can survive out of water by breathing through their skin. Most amphibians, such as frogs and toads, develop in freshwater habitats and then, as they approach adulthood, take up life on land, returning to water to breed. However, insects evolved amphibious lifestyles long before the first true amphibians appeared. Today, almost every patch of freshwater, from the smallest puddle to the largest lake, is inhabited by insects. Mosquito larvae feed on microscopic freshwater life, whereas the larvae of dragonflies and damselflies stalk larger prey, catching it with a set of extensible jaws called a mask. These insects leave the water when they become adult, but water beetles and bugs remain in it for life, although their ability to fly makes it easy for them to spread from one pool to another. Some larger animals have developed lifestyles that straddle water and land. Snakes are good swimmers, and a number of species, such as the grass snake, specialize in catching aquatic animals. The anaconda, the heaviest snake in the world, uses water for cover and for support. Despite its size, water buoys it up, reducing its effective weight to almost nil and enabling it to swim at considerable speed. In addition to providing food, freshwater is a valuable resource for some land-based animals seeking refuge from predators or daytime heat. At dusk, birds often roost on lakes and reservoirs while, during the day, hippos, capybaras, and beavers spend a lot of time in the water, emerging under the cover of darkness to feed on land. Caimans and turtles also hide away in this manner. Although their scaly, waterproof skins make cocoons unnecessary. Being cold-blooded, or ectothermic, they need relatively little energy to stay alive. Freshwater habitats are affected by human activities in many ways. Water pollution is a general problem that has profound consequences for a wide range of animal life. However, large areas of wetland have been drained for agricultural use, often because wetland conditions produce highly fertile soil. Water abstraction, both for agriculture and for domestic use, is also an increasing threat to freshwater habitats. Efforts to protect wetlands have produced several international agreements. One of these, the Ramsar Convention, adopted in 1971, focuses on wetlands used by migrating waterfowl.